Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it so very much. Welcome, my name is Aiden. I'm so happy that you are here. This is kind of the toughest 444 that I have ever done. So yeah, you're gonna see what my challenge is in just a little bit. Today is all green palettes. I have the Disney Tinkerbell palette from Colourpop. I have the Star Wars Mandalorian, the Child palette from Colourpop. I have the Huda Beauty Pastel Mint palette, which is what I'm wearing on my eyes actually. And then I have the Urban Decay On the Run G-Train palette. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so happy that you clicked on this video. If you are interested in this type of a review video, I have an entire playlist I will have linked up above if you are interested in other battles and reviews. If you haven't subscribed already, please do consider subscribing. Please leave me a comment down below if you've tried any of these palettes, what your thoughts are on them, and then, or once, why you didn't pick them up, if you have a cautionary tale for me or anything. And then please do like this video because it really does help out small YouTubers like myself so very much. Okay, we're going to start with the first one that I used, which was the Urban Decay On the Run G-Train. This, I mean, the packaging looks green. It only has like 2 green shades in it though. The rest are very kind of all over the place. You have a very neutral palette with a couple greens. Let me swatch it for you. Okay, so that is what they all look like swatched. I'm not going to put them up close because when I do, these shades look really funky. I mean, you can see the textures, but you can tell that it kind of distorts the colors just a little bit. The nice thing about this palette is you can do a lot of different looks. You can do a lot of neutral looks, but you can also do like a green look. You have a little bit of variety. There are some really nice shades in here. There's some pretty glitters, as you can see, like that gold is pretty. It's a little chunkier than what I like. It doesn't lay down super smooth or anything, but you do have kind of a lot of different ways that you can go with the look. The thing that I found about this, I didn't have any real issues with the shadows. I didn't like just normal fallout with them. They lasted well. I just got so bored. Like every time, like day 3 and 4, and I was like, I don't want to reach for this palette. Like I'm just bored and struggling to find looks. So this is not a green palette for me. And I think that's just because I have so many of the other shades and these just aren't like, I'm not really an orangey type eyeshadow fan or brownie oranges. So I just didn't love this palette. I think it's a nice palette. It's just not so much one that I would reach for. I don't think it's a bad palette by any means. I think this is just a normal, solid Urban Decay. This is more like the shadow boxes that I had in the past. I don't like the Naked formula, and this is definitely not the Naked formula. So if you're looking for something that's a step up from the Naked formula, this is a good one. I thought this would be a fun challenge because St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and I thought, you know what? I have this green palette and this green palette. Let me like pull out a couple more green palettes and see where we are. I do have the Huda Emerald Obsessions, which I thought about pulling out, but I didn't want to do more than 4 because that's kind of, for the most part, what I do with this series. The next palette I used was the Tinkerbell palette. This says it's a pressed pigment palette. I wish it said on the back which ones are not considered eye safe, because I will say I had a reaction while I was wearing this palette, and I think it might be this Awake shade. I know sometimes they put little markers and sometimes they don't, and it's, yeah. So I did have a reaction. Keep that in mind. It's one, it's kind of skewing my thoughts on the palette, but 2, it could cause a reaction to others at some point. All right, so that is what they all look like swatched. As you can see, 2 of the shades are so kind of light. They very much blend into my skin tone. This one is basically my skin tone. I don't know if they would show up. They didn't really show up on my skin. Maybe if you have a much deeper complexion, they might show up a little bit more just because of the contrast, or they could make you look like, I don't know. I just, not the biggest fan of this palette, which I know other people have really loved. The mattes are pretty nice. I do like how the 3 mattes here worked. I like the layout. I like that the shimmers are like in a cross and then you have the mattes in the corners. This matte, like I said, I don't know if that's what caused my eye reaction, but it was the same reaction that I had with my YSL mascara a couple weeks earlier. Just really sore. My eyes got a little crusty here. Couldn't wear makeup for several days. Luckily, I wore it just before I traveled. So I did like 3 or 4 days without makeup at all because I didn't even wear makeup on Christmas. I think that's the longest I've gone without putting on makeup in years. Like, because I love putting on makeup. It just is kind of like my calm, relaxing. It's a few minutes for myself. Get to play. Just, I don't know. Just a boost to my mood to take that time. Yeah. So not my favorite palette because of the reaction that I had. This one was kind of disappointing. Like, it looks a little bit more dark from a distance, but I had to go back and forth to get that to swatch to have like any real presence. Now, the other shades, this gold, I think the gold is really pretty. I really like these 2 greens. Even that brown is a very pretty one. You could do a brown look if you wanted, but this is very much a green palette. And I feel like this one I needed to supplement just a little bit. I would have probably enjoyed it a little bit more if I had had some other mattes that I was using with it, some other browns and stuff, and then just done a pop with the beautiful shimmers that they have in it. So I think this is an okay palette. It's not my favorite Colourpop palette. It's not my least favorite. I don't know if you can even see that green that's kind of down here. It's very like, I can kind of see it sometimes and kind of can't. I think this is an okay palette, but I would say proceed with caution on it. Next up is the Mandalorian, the child palette from Star Wars, which is also owned by Disney. I got this because it was cute. I, like everybody else, got into all of the baby Yoda memes. I thought they were so darling. I know that's not the real name. It's like, well, then it was like the child, and now it's Grogu. Or, I don't know. I am not a Star Wars fan. I don't like science fiction at the best of times. If I watch science fiction, it's going to be like comedic British science fiction. Like, I like Doctor Who. Not your typical science fiction at all. And I liked Red Dwarf, which is a British science fiction comedy, which is basically making fun of it. And it's a British comedy, so it just very much is my sensibilities. So, not a fan of Star Wars. Know enough because of pop culture and because of, like, I do run in more geeky groups because I am, I do like fantasy. I do like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, those type of things. Supernatural, the kind of pop horror, not like actual horror. Like, do not ask me to watch zombies, but I will watch Supernatural. That was one of my favorite shows. But like Vampire Diaries, those type of CW horror, I will watch those. But so I know enough from being in groups where people talk about things, but I'm not a Star Wars fan. I have no desire to watch any more than I have already watched, and that was painful enough. And if you love Star Wars, I totally support that. Just please don't try to make me watch it. So it has the cutest in the galaxy up there, which I think is so cute. I did love all of the Baby Yoda memes. And then you have 9 shades in here. You have kind of a variety. You have about 4 super green shades, and then you have this is kind of like a greeny tinged shimmer. You have some mattes with glitter in them. You have some mattes. You have some traditional shimmers. Let me swatch them. Okay, so that is what they all look like swatched. You do have quite a few different really pretty shimmers. This top one, I would say it's more of like a super shock type of a shadow. It doesn't perform like the normal glitters in the palettes from Too Faced. There's some really pretty ones. This one I had to double swatch because it just was so light. It's definitely one that you need to like pack on just a little bit. I did not have any issues with this, just in case you were wondering. So that does help. This, it also says it's a pressed powder palette, but it doesn't say, once again, does not say which ones are considered eye safe, which ones are eyeshadows, which ones are pressed powders. This gold did not, I don't like it as much. Like if you can see how it goes on the skin, it was just a little unruly. It didn't want to just stay. It's one that I think if you wet your brush and you're one of those people, which I am not, it would probably perform better. It's not one that performs super great with your fingers or with a brush though. There is quite a bit of fallout with this palette. I feel like the shimmers especially, and I did end up using my fingers for all of these. I don't like using my fingers. I would much prefer using a brush, and sometimes brushes work well. Sometimes you have to go in with your finger to get any kind of shimmer payoff whatsoever. But I do like the mattes. The mattes performed well. They lasted well. So I think this is a pretty good all-around palette if you're looking for, you know, more of that kind of earthy tones of green, like the marshy type of greens, which I think probably fits well with the character and that this is based on. So yeah, I think this is a nice palette, and if it's a color story that calls to you, I think it would be good to get. I'm tempted to get the Mandalorian palette just because I want the companion palette, not because I'm a Star Wars fan, because I didn't really rant, but you know, it's not the biggest fan of it, but it's not even a color story that I would want. Why do I want it? Do I feel drawn to it? But I do. All right, our last palette is the Huda Pastel Mint palette. This is the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes. I'm going to show you, this is like a putty. It is the weirdest shade I've ever had. Does not pick up with a brush. I'm just going to say that right now. Also, like when you're trying to dig in with your finger to apply it, it just kind of moves. It's so weird. I've never experienced anything like it. I'm going to show you, like, it looks different now, right? So yeah, it's a very odd shade, unlike anything I've ever encountered in the past. So that's unique. Anyway, what I have on my eyes is I have the brown, which this is very much a green palette. You're going to get lots of minty greens. That's in kind of blown up and in my crease. And then in the outer corner is this darkest matte. And then right here in the middle, that shade right there, that's kind of a marbled shade. That's what I have all over my lid. Okay, so that is what they all look like swatched. You have a lot of shimmer, as you can see, and you have some very pastel. Like, this is definitely a pastel palette. They named it correctly. So you have like a very icy matte. You have a slightly warmer greeny matte. You have one that actually has some color. You have your other matte over here, which you definitely have to build up to get it even as pigmented as I am. I don't know if this would work on anybody darker toned than me. And I'm like bottom of the palest, you know, very pale. The shimmers are very pretty. Like the one I have on my eye is very pretty. They're like this beautiful kind of wash of shimmer. They don't have like any color payoff. And they are very, very similar. I don't know if you can even tell, but they show up. They all look almost like, I put it on this third day and I was like, this looks like what I put on yesterday. So I swatched them and I was like, huh, not the putty one, but the other four are very, very similar. There's such minute differences. You could basically count them as all of the same. One has a little bit more of a brown undertone. One of them has a little bit more of a bluey undertone, and that's the one I have on my eyes. This one's just slightly more green, but these two are very similar. I kind of liked the looks that I've created with this, but I feel like this is not a standalone palette. This is, I would use the shimmers again. I don't know about that putty one. That one just, I'm struggling with that one, man. I'm struggling. But I don't know, like, there's some beautiful shimmers in there. I'm not going to declutter it, but I don't know. It's very pretty. I'm liking just the very simple eye looks because that's just where I feel like I am right at the moment. And I'm going back to school in, well, so I'm filming this in January before school starts, hence the background. But I wanted to talk about these before I forgot. You're not going to see this until February or March because I want to put it up closer to St. Patrick's Day because I feel like these are good St. Patrick's Day palettes. They're fun for right now, but this is not like an everyday type of a look that I would want to do. And it's not really a look that I would want to do on the regular. Now we come to my dilemma. I don't know how to rank these. Usually the ranking is pretty clear and I'm like, yeah, I get all of those. I don't really know how to rank any of these. I know which one is the clear winner to me, like I feel like is the best palette of the bunch, and that's the Mandalorian, the child palette, Star Wars Colourpop, all of those words. I feel like this is definitely the best of the group. The other ones, I don't know how to rank them. Like, I feel like this was nice, but I had that allergic reaction. This one's nice, but it's not really one that I would, I don't know. Like, I like it, but I don't love it. But I don't feel like it's better or worse than the than any of the other ones. And this one, I feel like this one's very versatile. So, you know, logically I would put this in second normally after the Mandalorian, but I'm decluttering this one because this one bored me. I was just so done. I was like, why? After this 444, I don't want to reach for this. I was like, by day 3, I was like, ugh. Day 4, I was like, I just got to push through this because I got one more day. And after 4 days of using a palette, it shouldn't be like feeling like, ugh, trying to figure out what to do. And I didn't even wear green on the 4th day because I was just like over those 2 shades of green. So yeah, I don't know how I would rank them. Let me know how you would rank them personally. If you've tried any of them, let me know how you would rank them based on that. Based on my reviews, how would you rank them? Yeah, kind of a dilemma. Never has happened to me before. Maybe it's just because I was trying to do greens and I'm not always, like, I don't know. Anyway, let me know how you are doing as well. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.